Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Couple of Nukes. As always, I'm your host, Mr. Whiskey, but not as always is it that special time of year. The holiday season seems to get longer every year. Now it's from Halloween
Mhm.
until Valentine's Day, according to some of my neighbors. It used to be from December 1st to, Christmas Day. Actually, at some point, it was just 12 days of Christmas. Now it's almost 12 months of Christmas in some stores. But yeah, we are here because the holidays are a great time for people to get together, but they can be an awful time for many. So we're going to talk about, reaching out to those people, our loved ones, or friends, or family, or neighbors who don't do so well around the holiday season. And we've got a lot on today's agenda. It's going to be a packed episode. We're going to be addressing Sierra Alpha Delta, also known as SAD, seasonal affective disorder, talking about how that really plays into today's world and how there's a lot of people just claiming to have it online. Of course, just like any condition, we see it becoming a social media trend. But we're going to talk about why it affects certain people, how the holidays and family trauma can play into that. We're going to end the episode with my pitch on what holiday we should celebrate and why. And it's going to be one that most of y'all have not heard of. It is a pretty old, ancient holiday. I think it's still in practice today, though not as much, if at all. And so I'm excited for that. We're also going to go over some good and bad Christmas stories. I'm here with Anna Murby, who I owe a public apology to. She has been on the show before. I've also been on her show. We've also both been on Johnny T's show, Refuge Freedom Stories. Shout out to him. But yeah, he's not dead. I pointed out, like, yeah, he's not dead, by the way. He's still with us, God willing. But that being said, ladies and gentlemen, in my last episode with her, which you can find, I'm going to have it linked up here and in the description below, the tragic women's porn addiction episode. Very heart wrenching, but very necessary conversation. I kept calling her Anna Murby because she did not. She said her name properly in her introduction, and I just went in one ear and out the other. While editing the episode, I heard it, and then I was really embarrassed. But it I could not try to sneakily voice over it because I was so sick during that episode, as I always am when I record with Anna. If you check out her show this spring, you will hear that I was also sick. But I'm healthy enough today, and we're gonna get into it. So Anna, Merry Christmas. I know it's not your favorite time of year, so let's get into why it's such a joyous time for many. Why is it not a joyous time for you?
Well, for those who are watching, I am wearing my Grinch sweater. Well, it's not really mine, it's my son's, but anyway, that's what my family calls me is the Grinch. And as
Mm,
long as they're referring to the newest one, then I really don't care because I really like that Grinch movie. That's probably the only Christmas movie I like. And I actually to out myself. I do watch that movie more than just at Christmas time because I really like it. It's funny, especially the scene where
mm,
he's emotionally eating. It's funny. Anyways, uh I I'm the kind of person who doesn't want Christmas to start until December 1st. I at least tell my family you can start Christmas decorating or whatever after the turkey is dead because he dies for his holiday. Give him his holiday. That's my slogan and pitch for, leave Thanksgiving alone. You can celebrate Christmas the whole month of December. Just let the turkey
right.
have its day. But it, Christmas time is hard for me. My whole family loves it. My kids love it. My husband loves it. They enjoy decorating the tree, which I don't usually participate in, and they like listening to the Christmas music. The only time I will listen to Christmas music is if I'm in control of what we're listening to because I only like the
Mm,
stuff from the 40s or earlier, the really old school style I like. I definitely don't like the newer stuff. I worked at Gap before I started having children,
yeah.
before I was
Not a
married.
sponsor.
Yeah, no, no. But I worked at Gap Kids, which was worse because the Christmas music was on repeat all day and it was sucky Christmas music,
Was
if
it
we're
like the
being
Kids Bop
honest.
version?
Something like that, but they also had some, I don't know if it was the, no, it's just Paul McCartney, his most famous Christmas song. I don't even want to try to sing it because it's already stuck in my head, just saying Paul McCartney. And you probably already know which one it is, anyways, because I see you smirking. But I can't stand that song. I can't stand that song. And the newer stuff just stinks. Don't get me started on Mariah Carey. But anyway, I digress.
You know what? I don't mind Mariah Carey. When I worked at an Italian restaurant, because I worked at a couple restaurants, every like third or fifth song they would play this Hawaiian Christmas song, and I just hate that song. Now, for those of you watching, you can see that I'm sitting on a tropical beach, so that's ironic. But in the winter time, but I just hate that Hawaiian Christmas song. Nothing against Hawaiian people. I love y'all. I wish we would rebuild your island, but that's a political conversation. But that being said, I can't stand that. It's like I can't even say. I don't even know the name of the song. It's like
I
Halala
think I
Kiki
know which.
Maka is the
Yeah,
thing you
yeah.
say.
That's exactly what I thought
Definitely
it
did
was.
not say that right. I don't speak Hawaiian, but and I try to tune it out because that song they would just play that like every three or five songs.
Have you
And
heard the hippo song?
I want a hippopotamus for Christmas.
Yeah, one of
Yeah,
my kids, I think it's my 8-year-old. I think she likes it. Or maybe it was my 5-year-old. I can't remember. My husband told me, I was like, oh, that song sucks.
I guess I was thinking I'm quite the opposite of you, Anna. I this Christmas, to save me from tears. No, this Christmas what I
Oh,
did.
don't.
See what I did there. This Christmas I
Yes.
decided to look up trap remix and hip hop Christmas music, and some of it was really it was a very different culture
Hmm.
than the normal Christmas music, but it was funny. It was entertaining. It was something different. I said I'm tired of listening to the same Christmas songs. Let me see what's out there. It was a little too edgy, so to speak. Some of the hip hop Christmas music. It wasn't the style I was looking for. So the trap remixes, which ended up just being actually you would like it, Anna, because I know you're an electronic music creator.
Hmm.
It was kind of just that style. Actually, you made some
Yeah.
electronic remix Christmas
Yeah, and I actually liked it.
holidays tracks that I've listened to. So I've been listening to more of that stuff where it still gets me in the spirit. I'm still hearing the old lyrics, but they're a little bit remixed around, but without anything too modern. It's still that classic, lyricism with a modern techno style. So it's something a little
Hmm.
different, and we'll see what I'll do for next Christmas. So quite the opposite of going to the 40s only.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I've
I guess
never
it's
thought
reminiscent for
about
you of your childhood, and I can respect that.
my childhood. How old do you think I am?
For those of you
Uh,
listening, you can try to guess how old Anna is.
You might not. A lot of people get it wrong, which is flattering, so I'll take
Mm.
it.
A
But
lot of people call me 12, so it's unflattering when people get my age wrong. We had the opposite issues. But when I get to your age, maybe it'll be flattering for me.
yep, I'm sure it will.
Yeah. But yeah, so I know before we started recording here, you brought over your little friend. For those of us who are listening, not watching, you have a Santa with unnerving eyes, as I would describe them, almost like googly eyes, but they're kind of just fixed in place. Cute Santa to some of us. How does he play into all of this? Your hatred for Christmas.
Well, hatred might be a strong word. In our family, we don't usually use the word hate. We say strongly dislike.
Hmm.
But anyways,
Your Christmas resentment.
yes, my bah humbug spirit, I guess.
Hmm.
Well, this guy is a smaller version of a Santa that I used to have as a child. Very small. I had one that was probably about the size of a 5-year-old, a big version of this. And I had that all throughout my childhood that I can think of. I don't know how long it had been in my family before that because it's an older looking thing. So it could have been from the moment I was born. It could have been something that, was in
Was
my
from the
family
40s.
before that. Yeah, it could have been. I don't even know. I don't know how long it was in my family. I just know that from my earliest memories, I remember he was involved in them. And I don't remember if I was ever a big Santa person who loved Santa, all that stuff. I just know that I loved that Santa. I loved hugging it, even though I could never get my arms around it because it was so big. But it just was always there for the holidays. And when my parents split up when I was 12, I was bounced between two different houses.
Right.
And my dad had this, and it would still come out during Christmas time. But at some point when I got married to my first husband, we I was living with my dad. Actually, I think it was during my separation, I was living with my dad. And it was in the garage in a box with a whole bunch of my other stuff. So then when I moved away to Connecticut, all that stuff was still in the garage. I didn't bring any of it. The way I moved, it was a pretty quick move. I moved a month or so before I expected to because of a situation I was trying to escape with regard to my first husband. So I just kind of moved and left stuff. I would get it later if I wanted. So time passed. I had fallen away from God. I was in my second marriage. I was in Connecticut, was doing my own thing. My dad was getting ready to move out of there and he was moving somewhere else. He asked if I wanted anything out of the thing. Years had passed. I didn't care, whatever. Drop something. I didn't care about whatever was in there. I just didn't know, didn't remember none of it. So I just told him, you can send it all to Goodwill or whatever. It's fine. I don't need it. I can't afford to get it out here. I don't know when I actually realized that Santa was in there, and my dad never mentioned it. So I don't know. Maybe he just really thought I didn't care or whatever. But at some point when I came back to Christ, I remembered that, and I was immediately depressed. That was like the only thing from my childhood that I truly loved seeing at Christmas time. It was a big part of my life and it was gone, and there was no way I was going to get it back. And I was very depressed about that for a long time, which was one of the reasons why I was just like, Christmas sucks. Aside from the fact
Right.
that, since I was 12, I was bounced around between two houses. I had two different Christmases. I never felt like I fit in. I didn't have that family experience the way I would have liked. My mom didn't get to see me on this holiday. My dad, whatever. It was just, I didn't like that feeling. And then on top of that, I was going to be doing it to my daughter because she was from a broken home. And, there were some holidays where she wasn't going to be around because she was going to visit her dad in California and she'd be gone for the Christmas break. So it's just, I just was starting to feel, what's the point in celebrating Christmas? It's supposed to be for family. I can't afford to buy them gifts. I can't afford this. I don't get to see her. So it just kind of started zapping my desire to celebrate Christmas. And on top of that, my favorite decoration is gone because I was stupid and I didn't take the time to think what was in there. I lost some other special stuffed animals to me too, and
Mm.
some that would probably be worth money now, some toys and stuff. So it's like I was just really overall depressed at that point. And at some point when I was with my husband I'm with now, I had told him that story, that that's the main reason why I hate Christmas a lot, is because of the brokenness that's involved in my family, and I lost my Santa. And I said that just, I always enjoyed seeing that and I wanted to pass it down to my kids because I know they would have loved it. And I was foolish and I lost it. Like I just was beating myself up about it. So I don't know if it was last year or maybe it was the year before, but he gave me a Christmas gift. My husband gave me a Christmas gift, and it was this guy, this little tiny version of the one I had. He thought it was this small, the original. I was like, oh no, it was a big guy. I was like, but I like this one. It's easier to pack away.
Right.
So as soon as I opened that package, I just started crying. Immediately just started crying. It, it brought back my childhood. It showed how much he cared. And it just gave me a happiness. Like I actually slept with that thing. I don't sleep with stuffed animals, okay? I'm a grown woman, but I did sleep with it that night because I really loved it and it brought back my childhood and it meant so much to me. So now every time Christmas comes, my kids go, "Oh, what's your favorite decoration?" They'll hand it to me, and then I just start smiling. And I wouldn't say, my heart has grown 2 sizes or whatever, like the Grinch or whatever, but I have a slight sliver of Christmas spirit because of this,
Yeah, there we
and
go.
and also because I know that it's not about presents, it's not about Santa and all this stuff. And that there's another reason why I don't like Christmas is because of everyone's obsession with Santa Claus. I always say it's Satan in disguise. If you switch the letters around, what does it spell? You know?
Mm,
And it's ironic because my favorite decoration is a Santa, but there's
yeah.
more to it. It's not Santa. It's not like I'm worshiping him. It's not that I'm obsessed with him. It's what he signifies to me. But a lot of people have lost the meaning of Christmas or what it, I guess, it's supposed to be. I have friends who say that, they've got their Christmas conspiracies. It's like, I don't even want to open that can of worms. I already got my
Yeah.
own reasons why I don't like it. I don't need others. I don't need historically factual or not factual ones. I already got my own. But there's there's just something about how it's been commercialized that has really sucked my desire to want to celebrate it too. Like you said, it used to be like 12 days of Christmas, and then it used to just be December, and now it creeps up on us as soon as the leaves start falling. And it's like, whoa, you
Right.
guys chill out. There's like, I mean, I don't really call Halloween a holiday, but there's 2 holidays before December, and then people start counting down, and I can't wait till I listen to my Christmas music. My decorations are up. It's like, chill out, chill out. It's literally 2 days maybe that you can actually celebrate. Why do you have to go that crazy? You still have to take it all down the next day. In my world, that's what I think is the day after Christmas. You better take those things down. But I'm
Yeah.
lax with my family. I just don't get involved in the preparations. I don't get involved in the teardown. I'm not involved in it. My family doesn't expect me to be. And,
Mm,
whether they like that or not, I don't honestly know. My kids haven't really asked, but there's just something about it. I'm just not in the spirit of it. And perhaps it's depression. And I mean, when it comes to depression, like you said, there's a lot of people online who try to use it to their advantage. Maybe they have it, maybe they don't. But I do believe that seasonal depression is a thing. Do I believe you need to be medicated for it? No, I believe Jesus can help you. And like you said, reaching out to those who are dealing with it in a way that's helpful for them, I think could be very beneficial because this time of year does have some positives, but it's also got some negatives. I have a friend who lost both her parents around Thanksgiving. They died during Thanksgiving, kind of a thing. It's like those things are heartbreaking. There's people who are dealing with real trauma during this time of year, and they don't need to hear all these happy-go-lucky songs and everything and talk about, oh, what gifts are you giving? Are you going to eat Christmas cookies? Come to my Christmas party. They don't want these things. They feel down. They want to be alone. They're going through whatever they're going through, and maybe they don't want to share it because they don't want to dampen your Christmas spirit. But maybe you need to get off your Christmas pedestal and go down to them and help them out of that. And then maybe they can go to your Christmas party or eat your cookies or whatever,
right.
watch your cheesy Hallmark Christmas movies or whatever, I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many people hurting during this time of year, and they need to be seen because I don't know the statistics about it,
They
but
need
I'm
to be
pretty
heard.
sure, yeah, suicide is high during this time of year. And that really breaks my heart because I wouldn't say I've been suicidal during Christmas time, but I have been depressed for a long time. And I'm pretty sure that's one of the main reasons why I have zero desire to be involved in Christmas and can't wait until the day after so I can pretend or not pretend that I care about Christmas anymore. It's like, eh, yeah, I'm
Yeah, no,
done.
I get you. I think that the whole construction of the Christmas holiday and Santa, to me, that just proves that adults, the government, and parents can lie to us about something and we can believe it. So it's like if I'm gonna say it because this isn't a kid show. If Santa is fake, if Santa is all a lie, the whole Christmas holiday, what else are they lying to us about that we've believed and that we still believe?
I
So
just recently heard that on a podcast for the gospel. Costi Hinn, he just said that exact same thing, and that really got me. Not that I tell my kids
yeah,
about Santa. My kids know Santa's not real. My eldest
yeah.
told some lady in the store one time because she's like, "Oh, are you ready for Santa?" And she's like, "No, Santa's not real." And the woman looked at me like, "How could you?" And I
And you
just kind of
said,
shrugged. I'm like,
yeah,
I
you
just shrugged.
said
I was like,
when it comes
"Oh,
to my kids, I have honest Christian conversations with them. And
yes."
so they, know the truth.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's definitely got me thinking, you know, um, we only know what we know. And, unless you went out there and anyway, that's a whole side tangent. But
Well, we
yeah,
tell our kids about not Santa Claus, we tell them about Saint Nick, that he was a person who was real. And, we share the story of what he did, but that, this thing they call Santa now is not him, that he's not an omnipresent person. That's only Jesus. And we remind them it's not about presents. Those are gifts that, we don't need. You don't need these things. That's not what it's about. And my
yeah,
kids know it on paper, but do they know it in their hearts? I don't know. Maybe at some point they will. But
they're still young. They got time.
yeah, I mean, I get it. When I was a kid, I'm pretty sure I enjoyed getting all my presents too. But at some point, when you're just getting clothes, maybe that's when you're starting to
I
have
don't
that
know.
whole,
I don't know, Anna. I disagree
I
with you
know
there.
now I would be happy with clothes,
That's what
but
I'm
when you're a
saying.
teenager,
I want
well,
kitchen
when you're a teenager, you're
appliances. I
like,
want
I don't
kitchen
want that
appliances. I'm
stuff.
at
Yeah, I
I'm
want
at that age.
groceries. Give me a gift card for groceries. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
for
I
Taco
mean,
Bell.
it's funny when you're a kid, you want these toys, you're so excited for it. And then at some point, they stop giving you those as much and they'll give you, maybe you'll get clothes from somebody and you're like, I don't want
Savings
that.
bonds
And
that
then,
you try to cash
yeah,
in later, and then
that
it
you don't
says that
work.
the government had changes and they're not worth as much. Not
Yeah.
talking from personal experience. Anyway, Anna, I have to
Yeah, you
address
are.
something. I have to address something. You are a woman who, as you introduced yourself in the last episode of my show you were on, who likes to make, juices at home and custom granola
Mhm.
bars from hand. But you're telling me that you aren't in the kitchen baking up, scratching up some homemade, healthy Christian mom cookies for the holiday season?
I am not really that big of a dessert person. I
I'm gonna
I
end the episode
tried
right here.
gingerbread. I tried gingerbread, making gingerbread. I had such a hard time doing it. It's so dirty work. It's
Hmm.
frustrating. I just couldn't do it.
Hmm.
I will give a shout out to my friend. She's really good at it. She made me some one time while I was pregnant. I had posted that I just was craving gingerbread. And then, like, an hour later, she was at my door with some fresh gingerbread. I was like, I love
That's
you
a
so.
good friend right there.
Yeah, it was
That's what's up.
delicious. And I would totally pay her to make me gingerbread. That's how much I don't like to make gingerbread, but like to eat it. I do like gingerbread at Christmas time. I don't like sugar cookies. I certainly don't like frosting. It's
No
gross.
snickerdoodles?
Mm, I used to really like them, but I'm not
I knew
really
it.
into.
I
I
knew it.
don't I
I
don't
knew it.
really like dessert as much, and I don't know if it's just because I'm more conscious of what it'll do to me if I don't, eat healthy or whatever, but I don't really like cake. I don't like pie. I like dark chocolate, so if it's got dark chocolate in it, I'll try it. I'm a brownie snob. if I'm going to
Mm.
eat a brownie, it better taste like what I think a brownie tastes like, or you've just ruined my whole brownie experience.
Okay, yeah,
And
you have a
yeah,
certain
and I can't,
texture, and yeah,
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 and
yeah.
I can't explain what kind of brownies I like because I don't even know what kind of texture it is that I like. I just know when I eat it, if I like it, I'll eat it. If not, then
Yeah.
I'm like, here you go, you can have this to whoever's
Oh,
near me.
okay.
But yeah,
Some
that's how
fighting on the
much of
holidays
us.
over
Yeah,
brownies. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
But no, I don't usually make desserts not from scratch. I haven't actually tried, if we're being honest, because
Hmm.
I'm not a.
Well, we're honest Christians having a conversation, so that's a reference, everyone, to Anna's amazing show, Honest Christian Conversations, where she tears down false theologies and practices and doctrines. It's a pretty good show. I would
Thank you
recommend
for the
it. In
plug.
fact, I was on that show
Yeah.
more than once, but
Yes.
in the future tense because Anna is not every other day like my show is. Shout out to my show, but she is weekly, and you can catch her once a week. So it's great though. Unless she has a mini-sode, sometimes she throws out a mini-sode here and there,
Yep.
and it's a good 2 to 5 minutes of listening to Anna. Yeah. Let's listen to you some more right here about, well, I was going to talk about, actually, I'm going to take back the mic. So we talked
Go
about
ahead. It's your
SAD,
show.
the Sierra Alpha Delta. And
Yep.
for me, it was associated with lifestyle transitioning. And what I mean by that is that I grew up where my time in the summer was spent in a different geographical location in New Jersey. And what that came with was
Mm-hmm.
a different lifestyle. And for me, the depression was that losing that lifestyle. I remember one time my dad, it was like our last day in Wildwood, New Jersey. Love that place. And he's like, this is it, back to school. He would always sing this song. He was like, back to school, back to school. He would say, like, what is it? He used to sing a song every time summer came. It was like, no more school, no more books, no more teachers' dirty looks, whatever it is. And then he would do this back to school thing from this movie. But he was like, no more beach, no more sand. And he's just like went on this little rant of everything that was going to be no more because summer was ending and everything that I didn't like that was going to be happening because it was fall time. I just started crying. I was like, I don't want to go back. Because my parents, between them in school, life was hell as a child. But in the summertime at the Jersey Shore, whether that was Seaside or Wildwood, wherever it was very freeing. The beach has always been my happy place. You can see I'm on a beach right now if you're watching. Um, so me, it was that transition of lifestyle. And now that I'm older, I don't have that transition of lifestyle because I live all my life I live two lives, but I live them both in the same place. And I don't have that as much, but there's still that focus on not having family, not having as much as you make fun of the Hallmark movies. I'd love to have that kind of Christmas, that kind of town where
Yeah.
everyone comes out for the tree lighting, everyone is
Me too.
Christmas caroling door to door, where there's cookies, where there's hot frosties, all of that. It'd be great. But I you know I had to and I have a couple neighbors here, and I think this is really important. They do it where like open house on Christmas Eve. So anyone who doesn't have a place, they can come crash there and hang out for a while. I've known some neighbors who do that for Thanksgiving as well, where anyone who doesn't have family or friends or a place to go for the holidays, they put it out to the island or to the town that they're welcome to go there. So it's great. It's how I actually met all my neighbors is because last Christmas Eve I had nowhere to go and I went with them, and now they're my neighbors that I hang out with all the time. You know, they were born in the 40s, actually. I know you're a little bit after that, but it's great, but it's still rough. Like you said, it's like I'm listening, even though I've got my Electric Trap remix Christmas music. It's like I'm still listening to it by myself.
Yeah.
I've got my Christmas sweater with my dog's face on it, and she's got her Christmas sweater, not with my face on it. That's in the works. But it can be very lonely. And I've been on a couple of shows and on my show talking about suicide statistics. And yeah, historically evident that the holidays we see a spike in that, and it is really sad. So like you said, making sure we see and hear those loved ones, and it might not be obvious. Just like suicide throughout the year, any other time of year,
Mhm.
you know, you're not going to be able to see it necessarily, especially if a lot of people who are suicidal or depressed who aren't showing it are people pleasers or put on a facade, especially around the holidays. It may be harder for them, but at the same time, it might be easier for them to just smile and act like everything's all right. So I definitely agree with all of that. And Anna, what advice would you give for people as you've struggled for years now with your depression? Would you say setting boundaries with your family and loved ones around the holidays is what has been most helpful, or what are you still working on? Like, what can you discuss with that?
Well, I've been pretty honest with my husband, and he was honest with me too recently because neither of us, if we're being honest, this year were super pumped about Christmas coming. And that's weird to hear him say because he loves to celebrate Christmas. But this year was just kind of, it snuck up on everybody for one. And we just didn't want to because we don't get to have those big family gatherings anymore because my family's scattered throughout the United States. He's only got his mom. His brother is in Las Vegas and he's not doing so well. So as we both got a little bit of that depression going right now because we don't get to have the big gatherings with family. Our kids don't get to see their grandparents often. And it's so different from what I grew up with, having my whole family together. My grandparents, my cousins, my aunts and uncles were all together all the
Wow.
time.
Yeah.
Like I had big family gatherings, and now sometimes my kids, I share custody with their dad and I don't get to see them. Like, for example, my eldest, I'm not going to see her this Christmas. There's a lot to why, but I'm not going to go sharing it with everybody because it's her personal stuff. But I won't be seeing her this year, and I don't think I saw her last Christmas either. And my son, I'll be sharing him with his dad this year, and that's just part of what happens when you make certain life choices. And at some point, you have to accept the life that you have created, for one, because this is something I created. I was divorced twice. I, I came from a divorced family that was thrust upon me, yes. But sometimes you're dealt certain cards and you can't change them. No matter what you try, there's just some things that are out of your power. And you have to learn how to work through that. You can't just sit stale and stagnant, bitter, angry, depressed all the time. You have to find a way out of it because if you don't, then Satan's winning. And I don't want Satan to win in my life around Christmas, around any other time of year. I don't want him to win. So I have had to push through my desire to say bah humbug or I must stop Christmas from coming, like the Grinch. And I'll watch Christmas movies with my family and I'll have my little Santa decoration in my room and I'll have Christmas lights up. And I love Christmas lights. I don't mind going and looking at Christmas lights. If I'm warm enough, I'll go outside and walk around areas where there's Christmas stuff. Like you said, the Hallmark stuff. Honestly, I wouldn't mind having that kind of Christmas where it's snowing and families around. Someone else made the Christmas cookies. I'll try them.
Right.
Old school Christmas music.
Brownies done
I'll
right.
Yes, exactly. I will do all that stuff. If if I'm invited to a Christmas party and I'm able to go, I will go. If I'm not opposed anymore to doing these things. I'm not going to host a Christmas party. I'm not going to have people come over and celebrate Christmas at my house because my house is small for one, but also just because I don't want the cleanup later. Call me lazy, whatever you want, but that's just me. I do like what you said about how your neighbors allow people to come over if they don't have anybody. I think that is a wonderful tradition, and it's actually gotten it's kind of sparking maybe I should do something like that for those who may not really want to celebrate and they just want to hang out. You know, like maybe you guys can come over to my house. We call be
Yeah.
anti-Christmas at my house with some of my family who's not anti-Christmas. You know, it's like
Yeah.
just no pressure kind of Christmas time.
Right.
I think I think a lot of people put too much emphasis on this time of year. And because of that, they either forget Jesus or they put too much emphasis on that as well because there's been rumors that he wasn't born at this time of year. I don't know, whatever. I don't pay attention to all that. I just say, maybe he wasn't, but I want to reflect this time of year on the fact that he was born because the Bible does say he was born. It doesn't tell us when, but it tells us he was born. So if this is when everyone has chosen to do that remembering, fine. I'm cool with that. So I try to emphasize more of that. But I know I'm rambling, but it's just this is actually a subject that I've never really taken the time to talk about and reflect on with anybody before. I mean, my husband, myself, nobody. I've never been able to pinpoint the main reason why I just really dislike this time of year now. It's just feels like it's been a part of me for a while and I don't really know why or how to stop it. So now I just need to accept that this is who I am. I'm the Grinch and I'm totally fine with that. But I'm the Grinch kind of towards the end, I guess, where I'll still
Yeah.
participate, but it's like, meh.
You're not the Grinch who stole Christmas. You're the Grinch who had
Yeah.
Christmas stolen from you.
Eee, nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Two authors talking.
yeah, I would just tell people you can't change your situation. You got to find a way to make the best of it somehow. You don't want to just sit there in your cave all by yourself, bitter and angry because of whatever did or didn't happen for you. You got to figure out a way to push through that and to realize that somebody out there cares about you.
Jesus.
Yeah. Even aside from Jesus, there is somebody out there who cares about you, and you need to step out of your own self, your own depression, your own woe is me, and you have to look for that person. Think about who has paid you the most attention recently and say, it must be them. How can I do something with that? And you just have to make the best of your situation because sometimes life is going to suck. It's going to hurt. And you can't just sit there licking your wounds. You have to get back up and you have to do something about it because there's so many people out there who would be sad if you were gone. You may not think so, but that's because Satan's lying to you. There are people who are going to miss you. Someone's going to miss you. And at the end of the day, it's not worth it to take your own life, especially around a holiday that is so significant to a lot of people in a lot of different countries, too. It's Christmas is celebrated a lot of different places. It's not just here. I mean, we commercialize it a lot more, I think, than other countries. But you just got to find something during this time of year to hold on to and to enjoy to help you get through it. And then once you get through that, I think you'll see that life isn't as hard to handle during these times of year because you're not alone. I mean, look, I'm telling you, I've got a family and they're obsessed with Christmas time and I'm over here not obsessed with Christmas time, but I'm still here. I still
Right.
make the best. You're here, you've got people who care about you too. Your neighbors are there for you. This that is a wonderful tradition. It may not be the one you're expecting or the one you want, but you have that. You have people. God has blessed you with somebody so that you don't have to be alone. It may not be blood family, but sometimes not blood family is more significant than blood family. When I was going through my second divorce, my church family was my family. I mean, technically they
Amen.
still
Yeah.
are because I don't have any other family here other than my mother-in-law and my direct family. But I mean, I don't go to Christmas parties anymore. I'm just at an age where I'm like, I'll just stay home. I'm cool with that,
Well,
you
you're at the
know.
age where if you dance too much at the Christmas party, you might break an elbow. But
Ha ha
yeah,
ha ha. You're so
so
funny.
you have this dislike for Christmas. We won't call it a Christmas phobia, but Phobias is the name of your new book that just came out yesterday as of this
Yes.
recording date. Check it out on Amazon for those late Christmas gifts. But
The scary ones. My
shameless plug.
stepdad said I should have made it a pop-up book. I was like, I don't think so.
Yeah. I'll go on a little story here about how I really believed that Santa was real as a kid and that he could do anything. And every Christmas, I begged and begged for, especially in the background, of my home in my room, for the Omnitrix. For those of you who aren't familiar with that, it's a watch-like device worn by Ben Tennyson in the Benjamin Tennyson to those. In the show Ben 10, there's been a couple of different ones, Omniverse, Alien Force, and it contained the DNA of every species of aliens in the universe, and he could use it to transform into those aliens. And every Christmas, because I thought Santa was real and could do anything, it was magic, I thought he could give me a watch full of alien DNA, and I could be the real Ben 10. Only I wouldn't have called myself that. But yeah, I would have called myself Mr. Whiskey. It was so disappointing because every Christmas I was like, this is the year I get to turn into aliens. Like I dead serious. Like I was so excited for that. Like I wanted that more than anything was to be able to turn into aliens. And I don't even believe in aliens, which is the craziest part. But I was like, Santa can just get me their DNA. They don't have to
That's
be
something
real.
you and I have in common.
Yeah. So you also wanted to turn into aliens as a kid?
No, I don't believe in them.
Yeah. Um, so one Christmas, I woke up with a note from Santa where my Nintendo DS used to be in my room. And Santa had, crept into my room in the middle of the night and taken it and left a note. And I read the note. Actually, I ran to my parents' room because I was still a little kid at this time, and I still talk to my parents, which I no longer do. And I read to them, and luckily at the end of the note it says you may share this with your parents if you want. I was like, thank goodness it didn't say don't share this with your parents because I sprinted to their room crying. Because at the time I loved my Nintendo DS. This was before people were playing games on their iPhones and everything. This was probably I don't know six. No, this was probably like 8, 9, or 10 years old. I'd have to say if I had to give it a guesstimate. And I read a note to my parents, and it's like, dear Mr. Whiskey, you've been, a good boy this year and all that, but my elves, they came up short, and there was a little girl who really needed a Nintendo DS, so I've taken yours to give to her. And I was like, just crying. I was weeping. I was like, I don't care about this girl. She didn't need a kidney. She needed a DS. Come on. She can wait till next Christmas. And I was like, the elves aren't working hard enough. Like, come on. Don't you pay them, Santa? But yeah, I was crying. And he goes, because of this sacrifice that you've made involuntarily, he's like, I've gotten you the most special gift ever. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm getting the Omnitrix. I swore that was the moment. Every Christmas I hoped for it. That was the moment I knew I was getting it because I had made a sacrifice selflessly, involuntarily, and he said, "I've got a very special, reward for you." And I said, "Santa has deemed me worthy. He's giving me the Omnitrix. Give me that alien DNA." The special gift was a Nintendo 3DS. It was the newest, upgraded version of it,
Mm.
and there was no alien DNA involved. And my sister got a Nintendo DS that year for Christmas, and I did not realize until later on in life that the Nintendo DS she got was mine. I did not. My parents did not want to buy a new one. What they did was they bought me a new one, the newest one, and gave her my old one.
Nice.
Um, did not get the Omnitrix. Years later, my grandparents bought me a fake one, and that's okay. Still very upset about it because I spent all that time hoping for something that wasn't real, all because of this lie that the government has put out, as they do. All they do is lie. and my parents. And then I remember my mom used to call me mentally ill and delusional and a whole list of slews of names. And so in that time that she was yelling at me that I was delusional, mentally ill, she also told me that Santa wasn't real, as if that fed into my mentally ill and tactile issues I had as a toddler.
Mm.
But yeah, that was a lie that she perpetuated. So not my fault if I believed in Santa, and not my fault if I thought he could harness alien DNA, man who can travel the globe in one night and give a gift to
Yeah.
everyone, and that he just makes stuff from thin air and has magic. Why would it not be possible for him to give me an advanced technological watch that has alien DNA?
Yep.
So yeah, I've had a lot of bad Christmases. A lot of gifts that were top of my list that I didn't receive. Got stuff on the bottom of my list. Got a lot of weird underwear from my grandma, that she thinks is funny. So yeah, I've had my fair share of Christmases. And Anna, I'll pass you the mic back before I get into what holiday we should celebrate and why.
Well, it Christmas can be a fun time of year. We don't want you guys to think that we're, you know, bashing it all and everything. There's beautiful things to enjoy, especially if you live in an area like I do where it kind of gets a little cold. Maybe we'll get snow. I don't even know. We've been getting a little bit of snow here and there. Maybe it'll be a white Christmas. But there are things to look forward to at this time of year. So definitely,
Not alien DNA watches though. I'm just putting
yeah,
that out
no.
there. Disclaimer.
But I will emphasize what we've been saying in regards to Santa. If you are a Christian and you do the whole Santa thing, be careful because,
Hmm.
like Mr. Whiskey said in the beginning, it can cause some damage in the future to them believing in God once they finally realize that you lied to them about Santa all this time. Because God is somebody they can't see, and you're supposed to believe that He's omnipresent, He knows everything, He sees all, He's there, whatever. And you're supposed to believe that after they told you that Santa was this and you found out he wasn't. How are they going to believe that?
Fool me
So,
once.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, if you're a Christian and you're doing the whole Santa thing, I would be careful. I mean, if you want, take a page from the way I'm doing it. You know, our kids talk about Santa all the time. My little 2-year old knows the word Santa, but I'm not going to lie to him and tell him Santa's real. He's just, as far as he knows, he probably thinks he's just a figurine, you know? But my kids
An
know that
idol.
Santa is not real. My kids know Santa's not real. They know who gives them their presents. And I always remind them, well, you've never gotten what you've asked for, so obviously Santa's not real, you know. So so it's
Dang,
like
Anna,
whatever.
you give your kids gifts they don't want, so they don't believe in
Yes,
Santa.
carrots and onions. No. No,
Granola
my
bars,
point is if they want like if they want some big expensive thing, it's like, well,
like
you're
a
not getting that.
Mercedes.
Like my son would want a phone now. He's at that age. It's like, well, you ain't getting a phone. And I'm certainly not getting you one. So there's obviously not going to be a
I'll buy
Santa
him
for
one if he
you.
subscribes to my show.
No, see, we don't want him to have a phone. I said, if you ever get a phone, it'll be a flip phone that with no technology abilities at all. But just like those things, you know, like the things they're like, oh, I want that. And it's like, oh, well, I'm not getting that for you. I've never said Santa's going to get that for you or write a letter to Santa. I've never done any of that. I've always made clear from the very beginning that I am
Mm,
your Santa and I am not doing that for you. I don't have that kind of money or whatever. It's just, it's not happening. Like, I've never told them Santa is a real person who can give you what you
right.
want and oh you better be good, Santa's gonna get you, you know. Like I've never done any of that stuff. I've always been honest and transparent, and I don't remember when I figured it out on my own. I Like I said, I don't even remember if I actually believed in Santa or just thought he was just some sort of Christmas figure type of whatever. So yeah, that's my warning to Christian parents is be careful with the whole Santa stuff
Yeah.
because you don't know what it could lead to. It may just seem harmless, innocent fun, but at some point they're going to find out whether you tell them or someone else tells them or whatever, and what is that going to do for their desire to know about Jesus later?
Amen. And in fact, the holiday I'm calling us to celebrate is based in religion. Now, it's a Jewish holiday, but there's no reason that it shouldn't be celebrated by Christians across the globe. While Jesus is not involved, it is very God centered. And I'm going to get into that, which is Anna, as an honest Christian woman, have
Mhm.
you read the book of Esther?
Yes.
Okay, so you are familiar with it. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who aren't familiar with the book of Esther, it's one of the only books in the Bible that does not mention God directly. God is almost not even in the book. And what it is and what it does so well is it shows God working behind the scenes, even when we don't talk about him, when we don't mention him. And it is a story of the salvation of the Jewish people and how all these things happened at a certain time and place to line up for that salvation. And it's amazing. It's one of my favorite books of the Bible, which is most of them, all of them. Um, Actually, my top three are Jonah, Job, and um, I was gonna say Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and Jacob, but that was more than three. But yeah, the Book of Esther is an amazing read. It's very interesting. It's very different from the rest of the Bible. There is a holiday associated with it called, and if I'm pronouncing this right, Purim or Purim. I think it's Purim because I am white, but it might be Purim. Anyway, it is a holiday that celebrates the salvation of the Jewish people from the annihilation of the hands of that empire, and it's all in the book of Esther. And it changes every year. This year, or this upcoming year, it's going to be March 14th and 15th, 2025. It will be my first year celebrating it. I am hosting a party and a festival, and I don't know who's going to participate with me, if anyone, but I'm going to read the book of Esther. I might read the first half on the 14th, the second half on the 15th. But I think I want to make that like I'm going to celebrate that the rest of my life. I'm not a Jewish person, but I am a follower and believer of God. And when he saved those Jewish people, the impact that had on the rest of history definitely comes down to this day. And, there's plenty of times in my life where God hasn't been the main focus, unfortunately, or, he hasn't been given the credit, but he was doing all the work behind the scenes for us. So I am encouraging everyone, if you want to have great food and give gifts out and have a God centered holiday, I'm going to start celebrating Purim. I think everyone else should do that. And I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
Sounds interesting. I have to read Esther again because I have read it, but it's been a while.
Mm,
And yeah, I mean, if I'm going to be honest,
as an
I'm not
honest
really a
Christian.
holiday person. I don't even like to celebrate my own birthday. I
That's
purposely
every
make
40-year-old
sure
woman ever, but yeah.
you just outed me and my age. No,
Well,
but yeah,
I said,
it's
sorry.
fine.
I said
Yeah.
4 years. I meant 28. Yeah.
No, it's fine. But
If you listen to Anna's show and my show, you've said your age, so I felt like
yeah, I
it
know.
was all right. If you're a
Yeah.
new listener, Anna's 40, but you wouldn't know it at all,
Yes,
except for when she
thank
broke her
you.
elbow roller skating, but that's a different
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, you can go back to my season 1 and listen to that episode. But yeah, I've never been well, I can't say never, but in my adult years, I don't think I've ever been someone who really enjoys holidays in general. Like I don't know
Hmm.
if I'm introverted or whatever. I just don't really like big crowds. I don't like going and doing things like that. And like I said, I don't like celebrating my birthday even. I only certain people know when my birthday is, and that's, my close friends and everything. I don't put it on Facebook because I don't really want everyone giving me all that happy birthday stuff that they usually do, because it's like a lot of the people who say it, they don't know it's your birthday other than the fact that they were just told by Facebook that it's your birthday. And it's like I don't like hearing that because I feel like it's insincere. And I know they probably mean well, and everyone wants to celebrate the fact that you're still alive, that you were born, whatever. And I completely get that. But I don't know. I'm just not a super sentimental person. That's
We'll have
probably
you
why.
on
Maybe I'm
for your birthday
hardcore
for
like
an anti-birthday episode. Don't worry. We had one. It's no longer available on my show, but Mr. Whiskey's Nuclear Birthday Mania Bash. It was a 3 hour episode, and I went over some of my worst and best. There was no best birthdays. There was only worse and worse,
Oh.
or more worse. um, we had a little bingo card sheet of I bet this happened on Mr. Whiskey's birthday,
Oh.
and the squares were that my friends bet in on was drunk father, romantic issues with a woman. I don't know. Like there was just nothing good, nothing good. So yeah, I'm with you on the birthday. All my social medias have a different birthday, so I get birthday wishes throughout like the whole month on random days. Um, yeah, I get. It's one of those things where it's like, mm, they wouldn't have known it was my birthday, but I'm sure they don't have bad intentions behind it. But it's like
Yeah.
how surface level is it? So I get it, and I've had mixed feelings because I've been like people didn't know it was my birthday today, and I spent it all alone, and it's like, well, did you tell anyone it was your birthday? Did
Yeah.
people know? It's like they
I've
don't
been
know if they
there
don't
too.
know.
I've
Luckily,
been there
my
too. It's funny.
military friends have good wives who have a list of everyone's birthdays and stuff. I got to start putting them in the calendar. People tell me I'm like, I'll remember that, and then I'm like,
I've been
well, it's
doing that.
sometime in this year or that year.
I've been doing that for my friends in Russia so I can keep an eye on their birthdays, their family's birthdays, and everything. But now I also have the added, I have to make sure I say it on their actual birthday because some of them, they're like 12 hours ahead of me.
Yeah,
So
different
it's
time
like,
zone.
okay, I got to make sure I say it at this
And you
time.
you
Otherwise,
say
it
it in
won't be
Russian,
their
right?
birthday. Yes, I do. S Dnyom Rождения.
Wow, that was
Happy
pretty good.
birthday.
Do you have a podcast where you speak Russian?
No, I will not be plugging that because I have not done
It's in the
anything with
description
it in
below
a while.
already. But yeah,
Stop.
yeah, it's already in the description below. Ladies and gentlemen, check
Nice.
out Anna's Russian podcast and give
There's
her some feedback on
only
that.
5 episodes because I have to get better first before
Yeah,
I go
but
back to that.
yeah, I agree. Anna doesn't even know my birthday, so that's okay. But well,
I
maybe
don't think you
I'll
know
maybe
mine.
I'll text that your way. Um, no, I just know you've had only 28 birthdays so far, and there's many more to come.
Right.
But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, just Merry Christmas to all y'all. Come March, I'll say Happy Purim. I gotta continue learning Hebrew and Greek so I can celebrate these ancient holidays better. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, really, if you got anything from this episode besides some good banter, some shameless plugs, and some childhood trauma, what I want you to get away from this is to, check on one another. Like I said, people can be happy and having happy holidays. That doesn't mean they're happy inside. A lot of people don't want to burden one another or feel like a burden to one another during the holiday season, especially. But the holidays don't, our emotions don't stop for the holidays. The holidays don't care about our emotions. So check in on one another, and whether that's sending them some homemade gingerbread cookies with a little note, or that's giving them a phone call. Definitely be reaching out. A lot of people reach out to one another on Christmas Day exact and say Merry Christmas, or on Hanukkah and say Happy Hanukkah. But reach out before and afterward as well and make sure they're doing all right.
Yep, I agree.
Oh, that was it, Anna. I was
Oh
okay.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah.
said it
I said it
perfectly.
all.
I
Thank
don't
you.
need to add anything.
Yeah, well, Anna, thank you for coming on and sharing about your Christmas story. I think it's one that really resonates with a lot of people more than ever before. Do we see divorce rates and split homes for the holidays? So I think your story really resonates. Even my later years in high school, my parents had started living separate a little bit, and it was the same situation where I had to pick and choose.
Yep.
Especially being in the military, only having a few days of leave to try and see both families, it gets rough. So I
Yeah.
think, like you said, try to make the best of it. Set those boundaries if you need to. If you have trauma, if you have
Yep.
emotions, you're not a burden. You're a person, and you need to take care of yourself. more than you need to take care of the holidays. So,
Yep.
Anna, thank you for coming on the show. It's always a great time. We'll have you on again plenty of more
Yep.
times.
Thank you for
Um,
having me. This is my first Christmas episode.
yeah, maybe we'll have you come on to deconstruct Easter sometime, and
No, no.
but we'll do something,
I
ladies and
don't
gentlemen.
like the Easter egg bunny stuff. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
all
So
I'll
we
say
can get
about
into that. We can get
that.
into that in the future. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening. We wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. And as you go into the new year, thinking about what you want to do with your future holidays and checking in on everyone for the new year as well. A lot of people don't want to make it through another year, so we need to help support one another. And we'll have Anna's information in the description below as well for y'all to check out.
Sailing through the ocean blue, nuclear reactors my crew, guiding the ship, the stars as our guide, through the waves we ride. Jokes and laughter fill the air, on this voyage we have to share, working together, side by side, as one family we will abide. In the heart of the ship we reside, nuclear operators with pride, powering the vessel with every stride. Our mission, a source of great pride.